Inside the life of Dubai's richest kids, how do they spend their wealth? While regular teens save up for their first car, Dubai's young royals are dropping millions on sneakers and flying private jets before they can even drive. These kids don't just have trust funds, they have buy whatever you want funds. From 15-year-olds with supercar collections to teens who spend more on a weekend shopping spree than most people make in a year, these royal kids are living in a different universe. Let's peek into the lives of the richest young Dubai royals and see how they spend their fortune. Rashed Belhassa. Starting on our list, we've got Rashed Belhassa, aka Money Kicks to his fans. This kid's living the dream thanks to his dad's construction empire, Saif Belhassa Holding. Do you know how big we're talking? Over 50 companies and 10,000 employees. But here's what makes Richest different. He's not just sitting around on daddy's money. He's out there making his own waves as a social media star. Let's start with something mind-blowing, his sneaker collection. At 15, this guy's got kicks worth over $1 million just sitting in his closet. We're talking signed 2004 Air Jordan 13s from Michael Jordan himself and those Nike Air Yeezy, 2 Red Octobers that'll set you back $15,000 a pair. That's a whole car on each foot. His social media game? Off the charts. 2 million on Instagram, 3 million YouTube subscribers watching him live his best life with celebs. But what if I told you that's not even the craziest part? Some rich kids have a dog, maybe a horse if they're feeling fancy. But Richest? He's got an entire private zoo. 500 exotic animals, lions, tigers, giraffes, the whole deal. A lot of these animals are rescues, and they're living the high life with designer names. There's a lion called VAI, and these orangutans named Gucci and Dior. The zoo's private, but that doesn't stop Mariah Carey and Floyd Mayweather from dropping by to hang out. When it comes to cars, this guy doesn't mess around. His Ferrari F12 Berlinetta. Not flashy enough on its own, so he wrapped it in Louis Vuitton and Supreme print. Did I mention it was just a birthday gift? There's also a Cadillac Escalade with a Yeezy print wrap, because what's the point of being subtle? But the most insane thing in his collection isn't even a car or an animal. It's a bottle of perfume called Shoe. At $1.3 million, it's the world's most expensive perfume with so many diamonds, it's got a Guinness World Record. What's wilder than spending more on a scent than most people spend on a house? Marwan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum. Next on our list, Marwan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum. And if you thought our last entry was wild, this 23-year-old's worth $1 billion. But what makes Marwan different? He's not just lounging around. He's the vice chairman of Emaar Properties. Ever walked past the Burj Khalifa or Dubai Mall? That's all Emaar. They're basically the company that's giving Dubai its incredible skyline. But one massive company wasn't enough for Marwan. He went ahead and co-founded Shua Capital, where he owns a quarter of the business. Let's pause for a second and talk about his toys, because this is where things get absolutely nuts. His car collection? We're looking at over $10 million worth of wheels, multiple Lamborghinis, because having just one would be boring, and a fleet of Bugattis. But the star of the show might be his Rolls-Royce Phantom drophead coupe. $500,000 for what's basically the most luxurious convertible ever made. And when he's not driving one of his supercars, he's probably chilling at his waterfront villa. 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 2 pools and 3 fountains. The place is worth about $7 million, and that's just one of his homes. While our last entry was busy with his private zoo, Marwan's out here literally changing how Dubai looks. Saeed bin Bouti Al Maktoum. Saeed bin Bouti Al Maktoum, with $2 billion in his pocket. This son of Dubai's ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum isn't just another trust fund kid. He's the vice chairman and managing director at Abdul Latif Jameel Holding, one of the Middle East's biggest companies. They do everything from cars to real estate to energy. But let me tell you about what makes Saeed really stand out: his watch collection. This guy's wrist is worth more than most people's entire net worth. Take his Cartier Santos Dumont XL. Only 100 were ever made, with a platinum case. Most people would be sweating just holding it, but for Saeed, it's just another day, another $1 million timepiece. And don't even get me started on his Hublot collection. He's got this Big Bang Unico King Gold Blue that's basically art for your wrist. 18-karat gold, see-through dials showing all the tiny moving parts inside. Price tag, over $40,000. But that's pocket change for someone like Saeed. When he's not running his empire or adding to his watch collection, Saeed knows how to live. But here's what's interesting. He doesn't do it for the gram. No flashy social media posts. No showing off. While other rich kids are fighting for likes, he's out there renting entire luxury resorts just because he can. Private islands, he's got them on speed dial. But you know what's cool about him? He's actually trying to make something of himself beyond just being the Sheikh's son. Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Let me tell you about Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, and this one's gonna blow your mind. We're talking $19.1 billion. That's not a typo. He's literally number 36 on Forbes' billionaire list. He runs his family's construction company, pulling in about $7 billion every year. That's more cash than some countries make. His wealth went from $1 billion to over $19 billion, faster than most people can save up for a house down payment. Those sweet government contracts definitely helped. But wait till you hear about how he spends it. His garage is basically a luxury car museum. Bugattis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royces, but not the regular ones you might see in Dubai. Hamdan goes for the rare stuff, the kind that makes other rich people do a double take. His house? More like a private resort. He has his own helipad, because who wants to deal with traffic when you can just fly? The gardens are so massive you could probably lose a few Lamborghinis in there. But here's something different about Hamdan. When he's not closing billion-dollar deals, he's out there competing in major equestrian events. Not just watching from some VIP box, he's actually out there riding. Fun fact about Hamdan. He dropped out of Harvard, but before you think that held him back, check this out. He went and started Future Prowess Consultancy, this massive tech investment firm that's crushing it. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. You might hear that name and think, just another rich guy from Abu Dhabi's ruling family. But hold on, this guy's way more than that. Sure, he's got a net worth of $500 million, but he's not just sitting back enjoying the wealth. He's making moves, especially in tech. But before we get into that, let's talk about his toys. Abdullah's car collection? Unreal. We're talking some of the rarest, most expensive cars on the planet. He's got a Bugatti Veyron, one of the fastest production cars ever made. This beast does over 250 miles per hour and costs around $2 million. But that's not even his most insane ride. That title goes to his Ferrari LaFerrari. Only 499 of these exist, and they go for over $3 million each. Nearly 1,000 horsepower, a street-legal race car. Just another day in the life of Abdullah, but cars are just the beginning. His mansion in Emirates Hills is next level, one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Dubai. And his place? Absolute luxury. Private cinema? Of course. No need to go to the movies when you can bring them to you. And the pool? Not just a pool, a private water park. You could probably park a yacht in there if you wanted to. Now, if you think he's just spending money on fancy things, think again. Abdullah's got bigger plans. He plays a key role at Mubadala, the UAE's massive investment company, and they're not just throwing money around, they're shaping the future. AI, renewable energy, smart cities, you name it. The goal? Turn the UAE into a global tech hub, something like Silicon Valley, but with more sand and way more supercars. And just when you think he's only into tech, he's also got his hands in real estate, healthcare, and even aerospace. The guy's involved in so many industries, his portfolio is more diverse than most people's friend groups. Of course, it's not all work and no play. When he's not shaping the future, you might find him taking one of his supercars out for a spin, or kicking back in his private cinema. Life's good when you're Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, But it's even better when you're using that wealth to build something bigger than yourself. Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al Thani. This guy's sitting on a net worth of $8.4 billion. That's more than the GDP of some small countries. But don't think he's just another rich kid enjoying the family fortune. He's the deputy chairman of the Qatar Investment Authority, which is basically Qatar's piggy bank, and it's worth over $450 billion. Now, you might be wondering, what does he do with all that money? Well, Mohammed knows how to live large. First up, his car collection. And we're not talking about your standard millionaire garage. His lineup includes some of the rarest and most expensive rides in the world. One of his favorites? A Koenigsegg Agera RS. Only 25 of these exist, and they go for around $2.5 million each. It's a rocket on wheels hitting over 270 miles per hour. But even that isn't his most outrageous ride. He also owns the Bugatti La Voiture Noire, a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that set him back a cool $18.7 million. That's not a typo, $18.7 million for a single car. You could buy a fleet of Ferraris for that kind of money. And he doesn't just let these beauties sit in a garage. Mohammed loves showing them off at exclusive car shows around the world, where the parking lot looks like a supercar dealership. But his love for luxury doesn't stop at cars. Mohammed's real estate portfolio is insane. He's got massive properties in Doha and London, and we're not talking about your average fancy home. His Doha mansion? It's basically a palace with more rooms than some hotels, a private cinema, and a swimming pool bigger than most houses. The gardens? You could probably fit a golf course in there. And then there's his London penthouse in One Hyde Park, one of the most expensive apartment buildings in the world. A single flat in that place costs over $100 million. And Mohammed? He's got the penthouse. Then there's his watch collection. These aren't just fancy timepieces, they're works of art. He's got watches from brands like Patek Philippe and A. Lange and Söhne, ones that cost more than most people's retirement savings. One of his most prized pieces? A Patek Philippe Grandmaster chime. This thing has 20 different functions and costs a staggering $31 million for a watch. But here's what makes Mohammed different. He's not just buying all this to flex. He has a deep appreciation for craftsmanship and quality, whether it's cars, houses, or watches. And that same mindset carries over into his day job. As deputy chairman of the Qatar Investment Authority, he's responsible for investing billions of dollars. And he's not just throwing money around, he's making smart moves that shape the global economy. So yeah, Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al Thani isn't just another billionaire. He's living large, making big moves, and shaping the future, all at the same time.